Welcome back, everyone, to another session of Crituitous RP. Thank you very much for joining us once again. Now, before we begin, a couple of quick announcements. As a reminder, last week, I believe it was, no, not last week, the week before, we reached our 100 follower mark, and as such, we're giving away a legendary bundle in D&D Beyond. So, in the descriptions underneath here, you'll see a link that'll take you to a video of my wonderful visage explaining the giveaway. Click on the links, take part in the giveaway, get yourself a chance of getting a free copy of the legendary bundle on D&D Beyond. Now, quick, brief explanation. The legendary bundle is all of the 5th edition content of D&D uploaded electronically onto D&D Beyond. I use D&D Beyond a lot. They're not a sponsor, but I just use it. It's fantastic, and we're giving it away for free. We've been given the opportunity by D&D Beyond to do so. So please follow the link, get involved, tell all your friends about us, and the more giveaways, the more followers we get, the more giveaways we'll do later on in the future. With that, today, during the break, we will have another Who's That Monster. Now, if you have been watching last week's session, you'll recognize the monster that we post up. The winner of this monster, of this Who's That Monster, the person who guesses it right, will get themselves a prize. And that'll be announced at the end of the break. So, we would like to now go through the list and thank all of our followers from this past week. We got a little bit less than we had last time, but we had a little fun last week, so we're going to do it again. And Tower, are you in for this?
No.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Then, in which case, we are going to go in a round robin, listing out the names of everyone who followed us in this past week. At some point, hopefully the list gets so long we can't do this, but for now we would like to thank each of you individually. So going me, Carl, Casey, Lainey, Stephen, Matthew. Dick _ Ricard.
Lucid Daydreaming.
Alex in No Alexis.
The Frapture.
Rock 1215.
I swear the ones I get are harder than your guys'. Last week I screwed them all up, and this week's going to be no different. Graham's Crackers.
Okay. Scuzzery.
Christo CT86.
Cozy Powell.
Kama Chameleon.
Motorcycle Monsoon.
Azazel 9824.
Mr. White Spam.
Rolls with Disadvantage.
Niroki.
Ian IK778.
Keldon Lighthand.
Eric _ Bean.
Silver _ Twitch.
YX2XY.
Marmy Worm.
Subtle Sanity.
Edgturv.
Darth Lantern.
Heaven Builder.
Scooby Sniper 74.
Tired Owl.
Mornus.
Toxic Zombie X.
Evil Genius 815.
Frex Z92.
Wessel Hausen.
Kipex TV.
The KOTM.
Healark.
Solfum.
The Okapi.
Nerf Yin Yang.
Kirsa 7.
Regular Anomaly. I'm sorry if I've done that.
Anomaly. Anomaly, I think is the
Anomaly.
word.
I've had a lot of drinks.
Anomaly. Oh my Apollo.
Vega Stellaris or Vegas Tellaris?
Ghost of Christmas Future.
Spygo, Igo, 13 Omar.
Gabbers Sage.
I want to say Reese G3.
Killer Dude 78.
And last but not least, Flame Titan.
That numbers, they really worked out. We each got to do just the exact same amount. Perfect.
Despite the fact I accidentally skipped one and the DM picked up on that and fixed it.
Mm-hmm. So
Test
thank you
skills.
to everyone that has followed us in the past week. We are absolutely blown away that we were trying to reach 100 and we're now at 219 follows. So for every single one of you, thank you so much for following us. Keep telling your friends. Keep tweeting and sending us out. We'd love to share what we do with everyone. So, without further ado, previously on Crituitous RP, our adventurers had been heading into the jungle proper now at this point. They had been in Mesro previously. They left the city of Mesro with a new companion, this interesting man named Artus Simba. This man seems to be the bearer of a great and powerful item, whilst also being a great and terrible burden. Already, signs have begun to show in the party about the conflict surrounding this ring. Shargo, the brother of Zola, the guide, who really cares for Liara Portier, wants that ring to save her life, but won't step out of line and offend his baby sister, and so won't act upon it. The party headed south towards the river, away from Mesro, when they found a point called Ataz Muhaha, which was another of those little tests and blessings from Uptau. Using boats created out of ice, the party made their way quickly down the river that connects the Kitchener's Inlet, the River Olung, and are headed towards the Arakokra home of Kir Sabal. Now, Averine has previously done a lot of work with the Arakokra in Kir Sabal and knows that they are, it's not so much a village as much as it is a monastery. The Arakokra, particularly here, are extremely ritualistic people, and their home is on the side of a cliff about 600 foot above the floor. Getting there is not easy. Being permitted to be part of the community was something that Averine had to work for a long time to be able to be granted. As such, she is permitted to come up to the city. So heading down the river, they make their way there. We're still about 3 days out when we rejoin the adventure at this point. The days are dragging on. Not a lot really happens along the river here. You are on the edge of a undead populated portion of the river, of the jungle, but you're also in a space which there aren't many creatures that are attacking you. You were attacked last session, but you're finding yourself with a fairly monotonous just journey down the river at this point, stopping at night to not only sleep but also refresh the ice boats as they slowly melt as you guys progress down the river. During one such night, when everyone is camping out, I need to get a round of who's doing watches that night. So, in a typical evening, who would be taking the first watch? Lainey?
Do we
Sorry,
need to
Carmen?
watch? Do we need to
Do
have
we-
a watch if we're in the tiny hut?
You would. Well, that's up to you if you would like to. You must bear in mind that the tiny hut can be dispelled if a spellcaster walks past you. So it's always a good idea to still have a watch out to make sure that no one is going to cause any trouble.
Okay.
Zola, what are you going to say?
2 things. First, during our travels, can I have shot another sending? To
Yes.
Zeppy?
Yes, what would you like this sending to say?
Shago is sad, but understands. We support each other. Around Kirsaval now, headed towards the heart of Chult to find and break machine. More Thans.
Okay. The response that comes, thank you. Keep me posted. Careful as you head into the heart of the jump.
Well, yeah. And then the second thing I was going to do is I was actually going to approach Artis one of these nights, knowing that my brother's having some trouble, and every single time we all go unconscious and he's left staring at the ring, I get a little worried. So I'll walk up to Artis and say, "This might sound a little strange, but it's for good reason. Do you sleep? First of all, do you even sleep?"
Wait, yeah. Goes asleep.
Okay. Do you mind if I sleep on your arm? Don't read too much into this or anything. It's just the thing is a problem, and we've got everybody wants what you got there, and I'm talking about the item, not the other thing. This is going terribly.
Well, usually I like to let a woman buy me dinner first.
Yeah, it's not like that, is what I'm trying to say.
What?
But if you want some dinner, Greco makes a mean bug paste.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, to answer your question, yes, I do sleep. It is still useful for me to sleep, though, because I can still get exhausted. I can still die. The ring doesn't keep me from dying, just keeps me from dying of age. So, I still need to sleep. But if your brother, as you say, is keen on the ring, perhaps it would be good if you rested just here, just next to me. Perhaps, maybe one or two other young ladies might want to help protect the ring.
I
Just
think
saying.
one body for one hand is sufficient. But if you want to ask around, that would be amusing.
Greco is more than willing to help in any way
Yeah,
possible.
get in here, Greco.
Okay. He enjoys the joke and the laugh, but hey, in all serious, yeah, sure. If you want to make sure that Shago is awake at the same time that I am, so that he's asleep while I am asleep, we can also do that.
I think it would be easier for everybody and not poking into wounds if we just quietly, whenever you go to sleep, I'll go to sleep on your arm.
Okay.
That way nobody can come over here and rifle through us.
All right. But I warn you, I might move around a bit at night. If I throw you across the room and out of the hut, it's not my fault.
Oh, that's fine. Don't
Okay.
even worry about that.
All right. Cool. So, anything else?
Over the next 2 weeks, Tower and Grigori get progressively more jealous every night.
I was going to ask, can I get an insight check on Grigori right now?
We'll see.
At some point, not necessarily on this watch, but Averin would have asked Greco, out of earshot from Artis, He says he's lived for a few hundred years. It seems unnatural. Have you used your divine powers to determine if perchance he is an undead?
The thought never truly crossed my mind. The magic of the Ring of Winter does seem very strong, but I could certainly see what I can muster. And yeah, I'll use one of my whatever the ability, detect undead within 60 feet. That's not. Oh, but he's hidden from concealment anyway, so it wouldn't show up, would it?
The ring is hidden from concealment, but the character, I don't think is.
I'll do it. I mean,
But I don't know.
Especially, yeah. We'll see how he pings.
So, using your ability to be able to do that, he doesn't appear to be undead. He seems perfectly normal. Nothing special about him.
Yeah. It appears that this man is not undead. I suspect that what he says of the ring is likely true. A venturer of his caliber, it does surprise me that he's not succumbing to the effects of the curse, that his life isn't being drained after some previous resurrection. So either he's very good at not dying, or this ring has more capabilities than just staving off death by age. It might be why it's so in such high demand by some of the more powerful people out there.
Do you remember our introduction to the man? And he said that he was both waiting for his beloved to return and also sought to reunite with his beloved. Did he say his beloved was of the long-lived species like an elf or anything like that? Do you recall?
I do not recall, but it was my assumption and potentially a hasty guess at my part that his beloved had simply succumbed to age when he did not. It's one of the tragedies of the long-lived, of the eternal life, is that your loved ones die, but you do not.
So I was thinking the same, but then I continued thinking some more.
And that's why we like you, Averin.
And if his beloved has passed on due to old age, why do you think he still wears the ring if he seeks to be reunited with her?
That is quite the puzzle. It might require some thought. We could speak to Artis about it directly, although I don't have a good grasp on him yet, and although he seems noble and friendly enough, whether or not his wiles are going to get in the way of his honesty is another issue entirely.
It might be an indelicate conversation. I don't know if that would be easy to bring up.
True.
Coincidentally, before you had this conversation, Grigori wanted to talk to Artis as well.
Oh yes, let Grigori do it.
Okay. Before Grigori does, Carmen, what do you want to...
Yeah. So
Wait.
was I? Sorry, we got a bit distracted then. Was I in earshot of this conversation happening?
Sure.
I think the only person that was specifically declared as not being within earshot was Artis.
Okay. So therefore, I would kind of go, "Psst, guys, he's got a son. He's not here on his own.
Well, if he has a
Not-
son at his age,
Well, yeah, his son's probably around, I think he told me he was about 50. So, not that he's seen him for many years, and don't tell him I told you this, because he told me, and we were chatting, and so he does have a son up back home who I think he hopes to see again one day. So that might be the reason why he's kind of sticking around.
certainly seems reasonable. Maybe we should, maybe we should try to reunite the two at some point after this machine of ours is handled.
I was thinking that, and equally, I might get a bit of company going back home. So I did say, we could go travelling together, go see your son. He obviously wasn't as jolly about that. But yeah, it could give him something to work towards. we've all got our own reasons, haven't we? I guess so.
A purpose is a little flame that can light a fire under you, set you going forward. And I think this will be a good way to repay him for the service he's already provided for us and bring some happiness to this world.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So then Grigori wanted to speak to...
And this is... Grigori was not a part of that. This is completely separate. He doesn't know your thoughts at all. But one night, I guess, while him and Artis are up, just... Artis, do you have a moment? I mean, that's more of a formal thing. Like, I understand we have a moment. It's night. People are relaxing. That's just wondering if you'd be willing to talk.
Well, I'm willing to talk, but it just depends on the topic of conversation.
Well, that's true. I just was thinking back to our first meeting, where you seemed so, where you mentioned your love that you were waiting for, and I just wondered if you could tell me more about her. She seemed nice. You said her name was. Did you tell us her name?
I think he did. Her name was
Alessandra.
Alessandra. Yeah. I will type that out into the chat just to make sure that you understand. Alessandra. Okay. Roll a persuasion check, Grigori.
Oh. Persuasion.
Well, not bad, not bad. All right. I'm beginning to like you. Just a little, just a smidgen. So, to be able to tell you a little bit about my dear sweet Alessandra, I need to make sure you know a little bit more about the city of Mesro.
Well, I'd love to know more about the city of Mesro. Was she from there?
Yes, she was in Mesro when last we met. Mesro, by all accounts, big city, very populated, lots of people, and by all records that you'll find, it was destroyed in the spell plague. Mm-hmm. You know what the spell plague is?
Well, of course. Who doesn't?
All right. Good. Well, after the spell plague started, this evil warlord, Razin C, led a horde of undead in to just tear through the city. Now, I myself and my Alessandra and other people helped defend the city. But we, with the height of the spell plague and magic not really working properly, it was a difficult time. We knew the city would be lost. As such, the Beret, which are a group of the city's immortal defenders, they used their God-given magic to grab the city and take it away. They removed Mesro from the plane. Now, I don't know where they took it. I don't know which plane it went to. I don't know where they went. I've tried. I've gone to other planes, but don't seem to be able to find them. But before they left, Alessandra promised me that she'd come back. So, I intended to revisit Mesro every now and then to see if it's back. And if it is, to find her. But I'm tired of waiting. And so what you found was me trying to figure out a way to pull Mesro back. Bring the big city back to where it should be. And bring home my beloved.
Well, and I suppose we don't know if she's alive or not. She was human like yourself?
Yeah, she was. But it was part of the magic. It kept everyone safe.
So do we know if they're...
You must promise me you're not going to be telling anyone about this. I do not want the Mesroans in danger at all. I would have to kill you if you did.
Well, if you truly loved her, I would expect nothing less.
Thank you.
Of course. That said, it sounds like we need to either find Mesro or figure out a way to bring Mesro back. If you're to be reunited with your dearly beloved. Now, is she? Well, let me just put it this way: I'd be happy to help you. I claim no particular expertise, but I would be happy to help you in that if, in exchange for your help or something in the future. But I'm not saying to make a deal or anything. I'm just saying I understand now more what it is you're looking for, and if I could find a way to get you what you wanted, I'm sure you'd be grateful.
I understand, but with this whole curse that's going on, last thing I want is to bring a whole bunch of extra people that I love and care about into the world while there's a curse.
Well, of course, this is secondary. This machine certainly is our priority, and we're continuing on that. We're not turning back around to go fix Mesro. But you would say if we could find a way, once this whole business is settled, to reunite you with your love one way or another. Sorry that I keep impersonating your accent. It's just so catchy. You'd be grateful for that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Sure.
And I've tried. I've heard of a couple of places in the jungle, though I don't know exactly where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Where there are like really old like seers, people who can give knowledge, visions, as it were. And when all this is done, I hope to go and find a couple of them, see what they can tell me.
Well, I'd be glad to accompany you in that endeavor, my friend.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I do hope that this all works out for the best and that you're reunited sooner rather than later.
Of course. Of course. So, anything else that anyone is doing?
I think Greco's going to brew... Well, I don't know how much gold we have, but I think I'd like to get a few potions of healing put together while we're on the trek. The trek.
Okay.
So I know I can do one per day. I think it was 25 gold per potion, so...
Yes, it was.
So I don't know what our party resources are, but if it's okay, I'd at least like to put together one, but maybe one for each of these 3 days we have left, just so we have a stash in case we need.
If you've got the gold, then yes, you can do that.
I'd be happy to chip in for that.
You could always get more from Grigori for the right price.
No, that's fine. Yeah, so I'll put that in, so we can do that.
Okay. Carmen, I see your hand up.
I would like to send a message home.
Okay.
So just to recap, so I've got it right. So the last message was on behalf of my mother from my brother.
So you're not entirely sure. The message didn't really explain who was casting it, just that they were a friend of your mother's, since your mother can't cast sending. At least I believe she can't.
Okay.
So someone else did it on her behalf and gave the message that she wanted to share with you.
Okay, would it have been one of my uncles? Can I ask that?
Yes, it's probably one of the friends of the family.
Okay. Can I ask who?
I'm trying to think if you want to reveal all of that right now.
I would leave that up to you, Aaron. If you say no,
Okay.
then we'll carry on.
Okay, then, Stephen,
Yes.
remind me if Danrik was capable of casting Sending. No, I don't think he could, actually.
I don't think he knew that spell. No.
No.
But
The only
he was.
person that...
If it's on the bard list, I mean, that was
It's on the bard
years
list.
ago. So there's
It's on the
every-
bard list because
that he could have learned.
she uses it. It would have
Is
been
this the-
Danrik.
Okay.
Yay!
Yeah.
For anybody watching at home, that's a character from our last campaign.
Okay, so, okay, so should I give everyone a bit of a background super quick?
You're welcome to. You're welcome to.
Okay.
It could come out in RP if you want, however you want.
So Danrik then would have sent me a message on behalf of my mother, Osrin.
Mhm.
Hence why I'm Carmen. I'm Carmen Nancy Lyoka.
Ooh.
And my father, Aaron, is dying.
He's sick.
Is this something that I should have known and didn't know about, or is this as much of a shocking reveal to me as it is to everyone else?
A couple people figured it out at different stages. For those people that might be...
I only figured it out last week.
He figured it out last week.
I was quite delayed actually. I was not really crying too much.
So my pain of a brother is due on. And that's why I was like, my mum would be proud I beat a giant because So that might explain a few things now. And my earrings that I have in my ear are from Uncle Gamel, who would have pierced my ears and gave me jewelry.
Oh.
And the magic umbrella was from Uncle Loic, and not seen much of Uncle Artie, but yeah, that's the background to it. So yeah, so okay, so I would then message back to Danrik and say, so have some information. What information do you have? There is a machine called Soulmonger taking lives from those who passed in battle. I don't know what else I'd say to Danrik. How is my family? Oh no, how is family and you?
Okay. You got one extra word because Soulmonger is one word.
Oh, okay. You, and I would ask about Gamel because knowing that he would have also been suffering.
Okay. So the response after thinking about it that comes in is just no knowledge of this machine. Current indication is liches are behind it. Emissary has been sent to Thay. Everyone else is hesitantly okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Anything else that anyone would be doing over the course of the days before the night that I want to run?
Sorry.
It's all good.
After
the hut is up, Everine will go around and just ward the area with her ritual alarm, just for double safeties.
Okay, fair enough. Then who would be taking the first watch?
Grigori
Tower?
volunteers if no one else does.
I think Tower volunteered first. list. Okay.
I'll take whatever like the middle watch is.
Now there are plenty of you, and there are 4 watches, so you guys can share. In fact, there are 6 of you plus 2 NPCs.
2 per watch.
Plus a familiar if you want the familiar to take a watch. Like, you guys have plenty. So is anyone going to join Tower on his watch? Did I? No? Okay. We'll go for Zola then.
Tao's going to run on. It is okay. You sleep. I will take this one.
Yeah. I must apologize to you, Zola. I've only got a loading spinner for you, so you're a little bit delayed on me because I'm actually watching you through the Twitch stream.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
You're also frozen on my Skype as well, so.
You're fine on my end.
You're
so.
fine on us.
So I'm good on the stream, though, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yes, you're
important.
good on the stream, so I'm
Okay.
watching you in the stream.
Great.
All right, good.
All right. So after Tower and Zola take the first watch, who's going to be taking the second one?
I'll take second.
I'll take second.
Okay. Carmen. And Avery. Okay, third watch.
I'll do third.
Okay. I was about to call you Danric there. No. Greco.
Oh, I miss him.
Greco. And you know what? Shargo will join you for that one.
Cool.
Okay. And then will Grigori take the last watch?
I mean, unless Artis wants to. I mean, if other people want to, he's not going to get in the way. We can go right ahead. And Grigori will just stay asleep.
He'll encourage you to be awake with him. And maybe it's during this night that you guys have that
Sure.
conversation.
Sure.
Right.
If anyone asks, I'll stay up.
So this
That's a
is a couple nights after you guys had been traveling in. In fact, this is your first night where you're not going to need to get back onto the river after you've left it. So you are actually now inland, about 2 days away from Kir Sabal. Tower and Zola, both of you go ahead and roll perception checks while you're inside the hut. Everyone's kind of cramped up close together.
Tao would you can step in and out of the hut, so he would have taken watch outside.
Okay, fair enough. Cool.
And it should
Ken-
be the hut can be opaque or not. And so, Carmen, how would you make that? Because if it's opaque, you can't see out of it either, right?
No, you can see out of it. So
Okay.
it's opaque, so you can see out of it. You can camouflage it from the outside in.
I see.
So I would have then camouflaged it so that people wouldn't have noticed it as much. But you can see out okay.
Okay. So, Tower and Zola, you guys spend the first 2 hours keeping watch. Everything's kind of quiet. You do see a lot of fairly larger shadows flying through the air. You can attribute that to probably you're getting closer to the Aarakocra home. So it makes sense that you would start to see some Aarakocra flying on a regular basis. Zola. Shargo's not asleep. On this night, Shargo has not fallen asleep. He's trying. He is really trying. You can see that. It's an easy insight check to see that he's trying to sleep. But every few minutes, he'll roll towards Artis's direction and not be able to close his eyes. And then he'll try to roll over, but then 5 minutes later or so, he flips back over and just stares at the ring.
I'll go crouch down next to him. Are you? How you holding up?
I'm okay. Did you need me for anything? Why did you wake me up?
You just keep looking at Artie. Do you know you're doing that?
I was asleep.
Oh, no, you weren't. Oh, that's creepy.
I was awake?
Oh, well, it's certainly your eyes were open.
Oh. That is not good, Zola.
No, it's not. Maybe try to sleep for the rest of the night, and we can talk more in the morning about alternatives.
Okay.
If you end up being exhausted when you wake up, maybe because it's not going to be good if you're following us on this journey and you're exhausted. If that ends up being the case, we'll see how you feel in the morning, and if you feel like poop in the morning, maybe your company is a little bit more of a detriment, or shifting to a little bit more of a detriment than a help. It's nothing against you. I'd want to keep you. I just
okay.
I don't want anything bad to happen to you or any of us.
I don't. I don't intend to do anything bad.
I believe you.
I'm sorry.
I completely believe you. I think that item, its curse might extend past its wearer. That's what I'm thinking now.
Okay, I will try to sleep.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna keep watching, and next person that we wake up, I'm gonna let him know what's going on. Okay.
Mm-hmm. The hut we are in is I cannot see inside from outside, right?
Correct. Wait.
Okay.
Yes.
No.
Wait. Cannot see outside. Inside.
Cannot see the inside whilst I am stood outside.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. He'll pick up his things and leave the hut. And he'll stay close to the hut, but he will, hoping to block the line of sight, maybe that makes a difference, he will go to sleep. And he will actually fall asleep after about 10 minutes of being outside the hut.
Okay, so next people we wake up, I'll just make sure to tell them what's going on with that and to watch him.
Tower will be, is your brother okay?
I think that stupid freaking piece of jewelry is doing something to him beyond what he can resist. It's not his fault.
Well, it's a good idea to have him outside the hut, because magical effects cannot travel from outside to in or inside to out. So if it has some sort of pull, it should, the separation should be helpful.
Did we wake you up, or are you not asleep?
I thought it was on the set. I thought you were waking up. I'm in the second watch.
Yeah, if you explain this to Averine as the shift changes, then that's probably what Averine would add to it.
This is wise.
Okay. Nothing else happens during your watch, so everything else goes by quite seamlessly. Shargo falls asleep. It's good. You two then go to bed, and then Carmen and Averine wake up.
I will. Tower will. I will watch him, and I will sleep next to Shargo.
You'll sleep outside next to Shargo.
I'll sleep outside next to Shargo.
Okay. All right. Tower. You fall asleep, and it must be one of those nights, because your sleep is just racked with horrifying visions, memories, nightmares of a time past, your village, the battle. You tried. You're running and running, trying to catch up with the city before it is decimated, but you can't. Friends and family are being slaughtered in front of you. And no matter how hard you try, you just can't get to it. I need you to roll a wisdom saving throw.
This is just not a good night for anybody, is it?
It's not a good night.
Jeez.
Okay. All right. You manage to keep hold of your mental state quite well. You don't go insane from the nightmare. And you're able to still gain the benefits of a long rest at the end of this. However, Those currently on watch, so Carmen and Averine, you watch as he starts tossing and turning outside. He's having a bit of a nightmare. Then suddenly, he unconsciously wild shapes into a brown bear in his sleep.
Oh my god.
Nothing happens. He just shifts into the brown bear form while he's sleeping. Continues to toss and turn while he's having these nightmares, and then eventually will calm down, relax, go back to his normal form without waking up.
Not certain if it's a comfort or the exact opposite to hear you do not go insane from the nightmare.
Okay.
Oh my god. Okay. I'm gonna look at Avery and be like, oh, okay. I guess casting sleep wouldn't have had any benefit either on that. As my backup.
Don't think so. Nope.
Oh god. Okay. All right. We need to keep an eye on him if he's going to be sleeping near us. I mean, thank God, really, he was not inside the hut. Oh, I would have had to do my watch from inside the hut.
Yes, you would have had to be inside, but you could see him outside.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
And you are right to question the fact of him shifting into brown bear inside the hut.
Yeah.
If he shifts, he becomes a large creature. The hut is dispelled.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Because the hut specifies 9 creatures of medium size or smaller can fit inside the dome with you. The spell fails if its area includes a larger creature or more than 9 creatures.
Okay.
Okay.
Choice.
Right. So he was asleep outside when this happened, which is good.
Outside.
Which is good.
Okay.
Right. So nothing else seems to happen during your watch. You didn't even need to roll. Yeah.
I would have put another alarm circle around Shago and Tower as well.
Okay, fair enough. Cool. Audible or just mental?
Audible.
Audible. Okay, so everyone would have heard it. Okay. You then trade off to Greco and Shago while they take their watches.
Yeah.
Greco will carefully step out of the alarm space without waking everyone up, so that he can have a watch and more or less do a patrol. Constantly keep walking while he's outside.
And if I'm told about what's going on with Shago, I'm not going to bother waking him for the watch. So I'll do the watch on my own.
Okay, so you'll let him sleep?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Roll a perception check.
Yeah. Oh, and I think since I'm doing a watch, let's see, I'm going to cast Enhance Ability on myself to get advantage on Wisdom saves. So I'll do that. Since it's been a low day of spellcasting. And I'll roll my perception. Where is P? Perception. Oh, yeah.
So 17. Not bad. You get a good view of the area around you. Thankfully, the night has calmed down. Maybe it was the screaming brown bear. You're not sure, but there doesn't seem to be anything encroaching upon you guys during the night. Yeah. Similarly, Artus and Grigori, your watch goes by uneventful, unless there is something that you specifically would like to do.
Grigori doesn't walk around like everybody else. He just stays awake, sat up, and just keeps an eye out.
Literally just a watch.
Maybe him and Artus just sit back to back in the middle of the hut. Maybe that's when they have their little chat about Alessandra and what's going on.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Then the day breaks. Everyone wide awake. Hit points back up to maximum. Everyone has gained the benefits of a full long rest, so make sure that you guys are all ready to go as the dawn sets in, and you will reach Kirsabal tomorrow. Important for the day, 3 and 12, okay?
How's Shago doing? Is he exhausted?
He is not exhausted. He was able to get enough sleep during the night. Thankfully, he wasn't woken up for a watch, so it really helped him to get the sleep that he needed to stave off exhaustion.
Well, doesn't look like you're a detriment. You're still moving with us.
Good. I told you before, I am here with you forever. Or at least until you don't need me anymore. Which, you'll always need me.
Yeah.
All right. To the bird people. Let's go. And he starts charging, taking the role of expedition guide a little bit more now that he actually has jungle to guide through. Trying to make sure that you guys head in the right direction. He's going to roll a survival check. Would anyone be helping him?
So Tower.
Tower and
I'll help
Greco,
too.
okay.
Yeah.
So enough people would help that he has advantage on the roll. Rolls a 24. Okay, fine. You get ever so closer to Kirsabal. You actually get to the point now that you guys can see the Arakocra home in the horizon. From this point on, Averine kind of takes over the navigation because Averine knows how to get there. I'm going to move you all over to the map of Kirsabal now. You may need to zoom out. So when you get a view of the city, what you actually see is a whole bunch of stone structures, huts and rooms that are built into the side of the mountain, of the cliff itself. The lowest point on this particular map, and I just realized that it's not visible to you all, is 500 foot above the ground. It's high up there. Arakocra constantly flying back and forth, in and out, throughout the day, doing various activities. As you guys get right up close to it, one single silhouette of an Arakocra begins to slowly circle and descend towards you. As it drops, Averine, you get a view of the particular individual. This is someone well known to you. This is Ashara.
Before she lands, as she's descending, Grigori takes Zola by the arm and says, "Lockley, may I have a word with you some distance away?" And not forcing her, but recommending we step away a little bit while Averine has a conversation with these people.
Sure. What you need?
Oh, just want to talk about the expedition and just chat and fill up dead space at a reasonable distance so someone looking at us couldn't hear what was happening over there. And just have a conversation about going through the jungle and if these people are reliable and am I really going to be a red wizard? I hope so. Oh gosh, those kind of things.
Sure. Okay. Yes, I will humor you.
All right. So you get his idea there. All right. So as Ashara drops in, this Arakocra looks old. The stick that she's wielding is about, I want to say about 8 foot tall, and she leans heavily against it as she's walking physically. The wings are enormous and they look powerful, but the legs of her are a bit frail. So walking is obviously much more of a burden to her than flying would be. This little elderly Arakocra, you would know Averine as the best term would probably be the high priest, the leader of this monastery, and a friend. You and her have met plenty of times together, and you would know that Ashara is as much of her name as it is just the title that she has. She was given it a very long time ago, and it's been what she was called for everyone in there. As she drops down, she steps up towards you. Hey, you again? I thought we were finished with you.
You can't get rid of me that easily, Ashara. It's good to see you.
It's good to have you back, Averine. It's been, what, a few months?
Not very long, and I'm very happy to be back in your company.
Well, I'm assuming you'll want to rest. Yes?
If we may impose on your hospitality.
All right. And who are your friends here?
Oh, forgive my manners. Beside me are Tower, Carmen, and Greco. There's Artis and Shago. And over there are Lockley and Grigori.
Interesting friends you have. You didn't have these friends last time we met.
No, we're all new acquaintances, and we're on a very important mission, and I'll tell you all about it.
All right. Hold your horses. Relax.
We do not have any horses.
I get it.
He doesn't.
Or is this one of these metaphors?
This is one of those metaphors.
What does this mean?
Hold your horses in it's an old saying. Just whoa, hold on a minute.
Yeah,
hold a moment. Yeah.
Oh, I understand. Yes.
Okay. Sorry.
If I were younger, I'd have a lot of fun with that one. So, do your friends...
I have a lot of fun, yes.
That's good. Do your friends know and understand what Kir Sabal is?
I'm sure I've told them, but just in case I haven't communicated it properly, perhaps you could repeat what it is I surely would have told them in the past.
Always slipping on the minor details. All right. And she points her staff at each of you. Now, Kir Sabal is my home. It is also a sacred place where we Aarakocra feel closer to the sky and to the gods that gave us all life. We sit up in our wonderful homes watching and keeping record of the land around us. So, I must implore upon you all the same rules and rights that my people must agree to. Firstly, we are very traditional in our ways. And one of the biggest traditions is, if you fall, you best fly. Can you all fly?
I can learn to do this if you can teach.
Well, until then, don't fall.
This is wise.
You will be expected to bathe regularly while you are here. You will be expected to be respectful and quiet while you are here. And you will be expected to have a smile on your face.
That sounds amazing.
Okay. Very well. We are very private, and we would appreciate it if you did not pry too much into things that we do not give to you. If we do not give you information, it is not because we don't like you. It is just we don't trust you. Okay. Are the other two ready? Can we go?
Grigori, Lockley, come over here.
I guess we'd better go listen to the peon. Dum-da-dum.
It may be wise to restate those rules to the Red One and form it in some kind of idea of a pact for him so he understands what the appropriate decorum is in this city. Just having traveled with him for a short time now.
She points her stick. Hey, horny one. Follow the rules or you'll fall.
Oh, but
and
of
if
course.
You fall, I'm not catching you.
I wouldn't dream of it.
There we go. Sounds good. There's a pact for you. Let's go. And she starts waddling off and gets closer to the side of the cliff. At which point, she flaps her wings, and with an incredible force of energy and power, she tears off into the sky at an incredible speed. Her ability to fly far surpasses any sort of assumption of her age or her ability to walk. Once she reaches to the top, slowly but surely you see a couple ropes drop down. These ropes that are dropped have knots in them in various locations, and Averine would know and understand that the way this works is you tie yourself around the waist with one of the ropes, and then you pull on the other one, and like a pulley system, you end up pulling yourself up to the lowest level of Kir Sabal, and then you walk up the pathways through the rest of the area.
Piece of cake.
Tower is he's been wanting to try and attempt to learn to fly. He's been struggling with it quite formatively. Can he attempt to form a shape and learn something from these guys?
Which you don't get flying until next level, is it?
I don't get flying for a while, but I think he could learn some things from these guys.
Okay. All right. Just immediately from watching, you get a sense of how the wings work. So let's see if you understand how wings work and can replicate them. So, which of your skills would you be utilizing to try and learn and memorize how the birds fly?
An insight of the mechanics of that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, roll an insight check. Nice. All right, 21. It's a good roll. So, your insight helps you to understand a few key points when it comes to flying. When flapping your wings, you need to make sure that when the wings go up, they're not causing as much drag as when they pull down. So you learn contract, spread, flap. Contract, spread, flap. Almost like doing the breaststroke underwater, but up in the air. And the quicker you can get that motion down, the easier you will be able to fly. Obviously, flying down is far easier as you just glide, and you instinctively understand how to glide.
Okay.
So it'll be a while before you can actually replicate it yourself, but you understand some basics.
Yeah, just observing.
So, getting to Kir Sabal is not going to be too difficult. You guys will be strapped in, and you'll have either a companion holding the rope at the bottom, or you'll have an Aarakocra at the top making sure it's safe. So, no need for any sort of checks. You guys slowly but surely get pulled up to the first section of the Aarakocra home. at this point, you start to see clearer what most of the denizens of this land look like. And the majority of them are fairly young. Averine would be able to explain to you that the inhabitants of Kir Sabal are pretty much exclusively the young and the elderly. Those that are adult age fly off and explore for a bit. And so the process of this particular environment is typically when you have young, that is the time that the elderly, so your parents, would take care of your young, and then you go out and adventure. And then...
If Avery is explaining this, does this mean the Adnakokra would have a better memory of the island itself and could fill out our map a little more extensively?
Already from your vantage point, you can see above most of the tree lines. It would help if you went to the very top of Kir Sabal to be able to get a better view. But absolutely, the Aarakocra would be able to give you extra insights into some locations within, and be able to clear off some of those squares on the map. That's definitely a thing. Okay. Ashara will lead you up the first set of stairs, and then turn abruptly back, leading you up to the second layer. When you end up over to the right up here, let me just move you all forcibly over to it. You actually walk through what looks like a bathhouse of sorts. The way to get up to the next step, I think you didn't quite... that's why I'm not doing it. I just realized that I'm pinging on the wrong section of the map. There you go. I'm pinging on the GM layer. That's why you didn't see anything. So this building, you have to go through it in order to get to the main home, the main chamber of the Aarakocra, where most of them fly in and out. And in order to get up to it, you have to pass through the baths. And this kind of feeds into what Ashara was explaining, is simply you must bathe regularly. And so she will show you that you are instructed to, with all of your equipment and everything that you have on you, you are welcome to strip off if you want, but you are encouraged to wash everything you have. And so just get in the pool, rest for a second, for a moment, just relax in the pool before stepping out and climbing up.
Tara will strip off, not a bash.
Okay, fair enough.
Greco is already basically naked anyway, so it's not really anything for him.
Okay. You're not going to remove the shell?
I don't think that's how that works.
Always remember the cartoons where a little turtle would shell with a newspaper ready to...
we have like on a little pair of like underwear or a bathrobe underneath the shell, yeah.
Yeah.
Grigori goes in fully clothed.
Okay.
And then comes out and prestidigitates the water off him.
Fair enough.
I was just going to look at Grigori like, I think you of all people would have been totally fine with that. This is their custom. Come on, Grigori.
Well, the custom was to bathe with or without your clothing. I was understood that this was appropriate. Looking at the bird person, is this not appropriate?
You can bathe in whatever you wish, wearing whatever you want. No unclean thing is permitted above. So if you choose to wash without your equipment, you are encouraged to also clean your equipment. Yes, Zola.
So water actually damages leather, treated leather, and it also damages steel. So I'm going to need some steel oil, and I'm going to need some leather wax, if that is what you require.
And she snaps her fingers, and a very small, probably young, maybe 9 or 10 years old, in what would be roughly that age. Arakokra will shuffle over with a whole box full of supplies that she's struggling to keep hold of, but it's all sorts of things that would help you guys make sure that your equipment can be cleaned appropriately without being damaged.
I'll rush over and help her.
I'm picturing like little down feathers still kind of around her neck and stuff, you know.
I assume mithril doesn't rust. I'm not sure on this one.
Most probably.
Okay.
Anything magical isn't going to be tarnished by natural means.
He would want the sword off for his great sword, and he'd probably give that probably good clean, because that hasn't even been out of the sheath for 3 weeks.
Okay.
So,
And she goes on to explain that it's not a case of you have to have everything washed. Like, not everything needs to get wet, but everything needs to be in its best condition.
Yeah, no, this isn't. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I haven't cleaned clothes. Yeah, he's gonna be washing his clothes as well. Totally, having a good scrub, because we've been out in the jungle and on a ship for ages.
Well, and that being said, if there's needle and thread, Grigori will, the little rips and tears that, you know, he prestidigitates but he doesn't have mending, so he'll do everything up nice and tight, so it's all very well put together.
All right. Hey, thank you, Mierdophilus Mierdago, for subscribing to us on YouTube. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Live shout out. It's still in time for the drawing.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So then, after you guys are appropriately washed and cleaned and ready to go, she guides you up the steps and over to the main chamber of Kir Sabal, and that is this large chamber. What you can see from here is there is a huge open archway and an enormous decorative stained glass window up at the top. Sunlight is obviously shining through it, and it seems to be positioned such that it gets a lot of light throughout the day.
What?
Were you going to say something? Oh, no. Never mind. The design on the window seems to depict an old Omuan, an old Chelton relic or word or phrase, simply referring to the ancient god of Uptau. It is clearly an homage to the original god of Chult. Stepping in, though, you are invited back into the main chamber, and here she explains that there are guest rooms ready and prepared for you. Thank you, Elmer Fudd Games, for following us on Twitch. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. So the area that you're just being presented with has a grand staircase that works its way up, and she will explain that above is where we do most of our main meetings and private discussions, if you would like. But you are welcome to rest here, and she indicates the rooms off to the side. Now, there are 3 beds. There's actually bunk beds, and there's plenty of space for all of you to be able to sleep and rest in here for as long as you wish. And she'll explain, any friend of Averine is welcome to stay here for as long as you might need. If you need any additional food or water, let us know, though I would warn you, we eat almost exclusively fish.
Ooh, fish.
Yes.
What a delicacy.
Caught daily out in the sea. So, you're welcome to rest, throw your stuff there. There is a kitchen where mess would have, but then she will guide you all upstairs, specifically to a very private looking chamber. This is my private chamber, and inside you will see a well decorated statue to the life of me forgot who it's to. There So this statue is a statue of a tabaxi, strangely enough. So not an Aarakocra, not a Chultan warrior. This appears to be a tabaxi. But those of you adept in religion, go ahead and roll a religion check.
For those of us who don't know what a tabaxi is.
Okay. So, yep. All three of you recognize this is actually one of the forms that Ubtao is recognized as. Ubtao is recognized as a form of every race that exists within Chult. And this is his tabaxi form. How it's ended up this side of the cliff, up this high, you don't know. But in front of it is an altar. She'll kneel down, say a quick prayer, which is
Does that roll get me enough to know like how to appropriately pay deference, while she's praying, not, properly defer during that?
It is simply to sit and relax and wait. Be quiet and reverent in the presence of the statue. Her quick ritual will take an hour. When she's finished, she will encourage you. What brings you here? And you don't need to worry. This place is a protected place. What you say here stays here.
How powerful is that?
I've never tried to break it. I just know that anything that I need to say in the eyes of the guardian of Kirsaval are kept private.
Everine, is that... I'm assuming you got a chance while you were here last to check everything out. Is that valid?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why Averine would have reason to test whether or not divination magic works in this area.
Well, because they said it doesn't.
I mean, well, true. Would Averine be curious?
I would guess that something outside of it couldn't get into it.
Mm-hmm.
And so sure,
is it like an Arcana check to see if there is some like energy or if you're in some sort of anti-divination field?
Roll an Arcana check.
Can Tower cast detect magic?
Yes, Tower can cast detect magic if you want to. All right.
I'll do it as my trade feature.
So, Grigori, you would recognize that the way you feel in here, the magic in the air, seems to be similar to the feeling within the tiny hut, but also the feeling that you have experienced outside Ataz Muhaha and the area around the shrine to Ubtao.
Thank you. From a previous encounter, from time to time, a lich who is up to no good spies in on myself and on Zola here from time to time.
My name is Zola!
We call her Lockley to avoid revealing too much should we be looked upon. And would prefer that you continue to do so outside of the presence of Ubtao.
So here,
I believe Averine can explain the rest.
Fair enough.
So here's what we're doing here. We have discovered that there is a curse that has fallen over all the lands, which is affecting those who have died and been brought back to life, and is slowly killing them again. It is suspected that the cause for this is a machine called the Soulmonger, which is devouring souls as people die anywhere on the plane. We believe that this machine is run by some undead lich, and his intent is to give life to a new god. We are on our way to find and destroy this machine, as is clearly an evil thing that must not be allowed to exist. And we've come here because we thought that you might be able to help us in our travels. We suspect a location in the middle of the jungle is our next destination. And if we had the ability to fly there, we might find our travels more swift and less risky.
And if we do find what we're seeking, fewer people die the faster we get there.
So, you wish to learn to fly?
If it is within your powers to teach us.
It is within my power to grant you all the ability to fly. I can give that to you. Averine, you must know that such a thing is a heavy, heavy gift to be given.
I know it full well, and I wouldn't ask you on a lark. This is a very serious thing. And the longer we delay, the more lives are at risk.
And for what it's worth, even Uptao himself has been guiding us. We are twice blessed. We believe he wants this. Wherever he is.
Speaking of which, do I see anything with that detect magic?
You detect magic within 30 feet of you, and then you use your action to see the faint aura. The shrine booming with divination magic. I would think divination would cancel out divination. And the room itself appears to be lined with magic.
Okay.
Further supporting the theory.
Staff, by the way, is that magic?
Yes. Yes, it is.
What type of magic is that staff?
Transmutation magic.
Grigori lays out the map that they have,
Okay.
and says that lich and the wizards who we think may be responsible for this are in this general area, pointing out where Zola had seen the grouping of them before. We're of two minds about this. Since they're all around that area, that may be where it is, or that may be where they're searching, and it would be best to go somewhere else. If you, as a denizen of this area, had heard any rumors or had any additional information to help us try to find those responsible, or rumors of some arcane or unusual activity that can be used to help try to locate this item, this machine, and those who may have made it.
Roll a persuasion check.
Roll a what?
Persuasion check.
Ooh.
Okay. There are some things that I know that my children have been able to find for me. There is information that I can share for you. Movements of the Red Wizards, where I've seen them, what they're doing, and so on. But I need something in return.
Ooh, now we're talking.
A deal for you, Red One. I can grant you all the ability to fly. The Dance of the Seven Winds is a ritual reserved to the Ashara. I can grant you all the ability to fly at 4 miles per hour for 3 days, which is faster than normal walking speed, and you can do all of the math and things. This blessing that I can give is granted to you in the form of a feather of mine, which you can trigger whenever you wish. So you can gain 3 days worth of flying, and it doesn't happen the moment she finishes the ritual. Okay? Whenever you wish to use it. However, in order to perform this ritual, 2 things must happen. 1, I must have a black orchid. There is only one place where they grow. In the ruins of Nangalore. And she will point out on your map the location of Nangalore. Bear with me 1 second while I clear it out. Oh, Hol Varoff has just followed us. Thank you very much, Hol Varoff. We really appreciate that. Every follow makes us feel a little bit better. All right. And when I feel good, I'm less likely to kill the players. So thank you.
Yay!
So thank you.
Please keep following. Do not
Your
stop.
following is absolutely necessary.
Unfollow and refollow. Just keep on doing it so we don't die.
Don't leave them
No. So she points out to Nangalore, the ruins over there. But you got to be quick on your feet and very careful, as the Black Orchid is watched over by a foul, foul woman, a Medusa. Claim the Black Orchid. Claim the Black Orchid, bring it back, and I can perform the ritual. But the other cost is while you have my feather, I cannot fly. I will lose my wings. So, you must understand how much trust I grant to you by permitting you to have this dance. To be able to receive this blessing, I lose my ability to leave my home. I'm not as spry on my feet as I am on my wings.
But if you could do anything to stop what's happening to our island, you would, right?
I would
are?
sacrifice what's needed. But,
Us too.
as I said to you, if you fall, you better fly. I will have to make sure I don't fall. Some other information. You promised to do this. I will give you what you need to know. The location that you've circled on your map that you claim to be where a lot of red wizards are. It's called the Aldani Basin, and I can show it to you. When we are done here, I can take you up one more level, and you can see the basin. Is there anything else I can do for you, Averine, old friend?
I hadn't heard about this Medusa before. Tell me, what is it that you know of her? Is she a reasonable sort? Or do you think we may come to fisticuffs?
She is a delusional sort. She's more of a victim of her circumstance than anything else. The poor woman was once the queen of the great city of Omu, before she was betrayed by her love and lost her humanity. Even now, she still thinks she rules the ancient city, though she is nowhere near the great city of Omu. She is delusional, and if you can reason with her delusion, you can claim the orchid. But if you cannot feed her delusion, if you cannot soothe her like that, you may have to fight her. And you'll see in the ruins the evidence of those who have tried to fight her previously. Many people have tried to get the orchid and turned to statues.
Do you have any suggestions in order to make our approach and our success as swift as possible?
Make sure anything you have on you that is metal is as clean as can be, because reflective surfaces will be your helper in this.
What do you think? Do you think the shield will be handy in that regard?
If you maybe do a better job of cleaning it next time, and we'll clean it properly. But yes, could be possible.
Does anyone know what kind of ruler she was when she was the Queen of Omu? Did her people matter to her?
Her people mattered, so long as they helped support her vanity.
Oh.
She was a vain woman. Not a bad woman, but a vain one. And as long as people did not spurn her beauty, she was good to them.
She's going to want to know why we don't want to look at her.
Yeah.
I think this is a job for our chief flatterer.
Why do we need shiny objects?
Oh, I'd rather not put Zola in danger, Averine.
Why do we need shiny objects to face her? Why is my sword being clean going to affect her?
Well, my dear, the Medusa has the ability to turn creatures that it looks at and that look at it into stone. And she cannot stop herself from looking at herself. A vain woman likes to see her reflection. And you might be able to turn her to stone.
This is curious.
Turning her to stone would not be a bad thing, because it would not kill the woman she was, but preserve her until we can find a cure for her Medusa-ness. Medusa aspects? Medusicity?
Or modacity.
Modacity.
I think is the scientific term.
Okay. Thank you, Afrin. Always good with the information and the words. And it's hard to get the words out with the beak.
Are there any other threats other than this? What was her name?
The Medusa. Double check. Her name was Zalcore.
Queen Zalcore. Are there any other threats aside from Queen Zalcore?
No, nothing you wouldn't find in the jungle anyway.
Well, then I recommend we set out at once, unless it is evening, and then we should set out first thing in the morning.
It will be a couple days' journey to get there. So whether or not you travel now or in the morning is up to you. Doesn't really matter.
As time is so critical with the soulmonger, is there any option or any ability to get us there faster? Perhaps if another member of your tribe could carry each one of us closer, not to I understand that would be somewhat burdensome, but certainly faster, and if they could get us closer, but not in the actual peril, that would get us there quickly while ensuring that none of your people are endangered by the project.
Roll a persuasion check.
Grigori, it sounded like you were doing your Greco impression there for a moment.
Well, you know, Grigori, when he gets around people, his accent moves around a bit. That's a conscious choice by Grigori and not Matthew just switching around.
Of course.
Oh, I clicked it twice. Sorry. Go with the first one.
I'll take the 9. So, we invite you in, and you would like us to carry you?
Well, I ask if it's a possibility. If not, I understand. I know it's a big ask.
We can help you get to the ground, and rather than going straight down, we can maybe cut off some of the distance. Triangles and all that.
That would be most gracious of you.
Okay. So, if there is nothing else that you need to discuss in the privacy of the shrine to the Guardian, let me take you up to the observation, where I will show you more of this great land of ours.
Grigori, are you concerned about prying eyes and what we might see up there?
Not particularly. I would simply ask that, other than my own name and Lockley, that we just not refer to each other's names if possible. As much as to protect ourselves as you and your people.
Okay. Then with that, she guides you out and up the last couple steps to the observatory. She does tell you to mind your step, as in the observation deck, there is a large section of the floor that has fallen out, and it is a straight drop. Now at this point, it's about 700 foot off the floor. It's a big drop. So be careful, she does say. It'll take a while before you hit the floor, so...
Greco's doing everything he can not to look down. It's very uncomfortable being this high up.
If I see that, I'll kind of grab him by the arm and offer him some stability. I'm very sure-footed, so just follow me.
Thank you very much, Sola. It's a little tall. It's a little high for my liking, but sometimes we must do what we must do.
You're doing great.
Thank you.
Artus will come along and take the other arm. I could close the gap if that would help you out a little bit.
Whose other arm is he taking?
Yours, Greco.
Okay.
He's trying to sweet talk you at this point.
Ooh. Greco's not too keen on sweet talk just because he doesn't really, I don't think, gets it for the most part. Thank you very much for your kindness as well. I feel very safe between two capable heroes.
Feel
Right.
safe.
Ashara will then lead you all up to the balcony where you can view out. There are a couple things that stand out easily, but can I get perception checks from everyone? Let's see what everyone can see.
I think I'm going to just voluntarily, if I can, take a disadvantage because he's making a choice not to look too deeply because of the height of it all.
If you wish. Tower. First one, second one, which one's yours, which one's Carmen's?
First one's mine. Carmen hasn't rolled it.
Okay.
So we just hit it twice.
Oh, fair enough.
There you go.
Okay. Those of you who rolled less than a 15, Ashara will point out certain locations for you to make sure that you see them. Those locations include the vast majority of the Aldani Basin, which includes the circular zone you had seen previously. And in the heart of that, quite literally, you see the heart of Ubtao. Now, from what you can see, floating above the Aldani Basin, high above the basin, is what looks to be a stone heart that is bleeding onto the basin itself,
Are we
watering.
talking like characterized heart, or are we talking an actual shape of a heart?
From the look of it, it looks like an anatomically correct heart.
Okay.
Specifically speaking, the rock looks more like a upside down triangle, an upside down pyramid, but at the top of it there is a very old tree that has grown in such a way that it looks like the arteries and the veins of what would be a heart. Out the side of this heart, you can see clearly that it is sprinkling something that seems to shimmer with the light. It gives it a little bit of a red tint through the sun as it shines, that makes you think, and at least makes you feel like it looks like the heart itself is bleeding and watering the Aldani Basin as a whole. A couple other things.
Do we see the area between Kirsaval and the heart of Ubtao, or do we just kind of see the heart floating above the forest there?
You see everything, and while the jungle is free to open up, there doesn't appear to be anything that kind of stands out to you as any particular sites of interest. But obviously, if you were to traverse underneath the canopy of the jungle trees, you might find something else. This is just a top-down view, what you can see from the top.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As well as that, she kind of points out, and this observation deck being stuck on the side of a mountain on the side of the cliff does actually give you guys a wide sweeping view. You can actually see around the outside. She points out to and lets you see, okay, over there is Camp Vengeance. It's a long ways away. You can barely see it, and all of that. You see what looks like a huge ship that has collapsed in the canopy, is kind of sat on top of the canopy. Over here. There you go. The wreck of the Star Goddess. So she points out that that is a huge airship that crashed recently. Other than that, she will then point out to you, and then the jewel of ancient Chult is the great and greatest city that ever existed. And that is the city of Omu.
Oh, so that's what that is.
It's there. Okay. Didn't mean to move the city. I didn't move the city.
It's not Mesro.
All right. Those are key locations that she can inform you that she has witnessed Red Wizard activity. Okay. So the heart of Ubtao ties in quite perfectly with the location that Zola had witnessed, as is the area that you had colored in previously, as this is where the Red Wizards of Mesro had identified a large concentration of something. You can't be 100% sure what that something is. Your assumption is it probably is undead or other Red Wizards, but there is a large concentration of things that the Red Wizards of Mesro are concentrating on over by the heart of Ubtao. And so she will turn to you all. You are welcome to rest here for as long as you wish, and then head to Nangalore to get the Black Orchid, and finally well, get your Dance of the Seven Winds ritual completed. And
can I ask if
yeah?
Tower perceived anything, because he got a natural 20, was there anything else?
So with you specifically, other areas of note. Let me just double check. Okay. Your eyesight is pretty solid and pretty strong. You can actually notice that there are a couple other areas that are that might be worth investigation at some point. These include a huge, tall structure that looks like a needle in the side of the jungle that is on fire. That is Firefinger to the north. You also are blessed with, to the east of you, in fact, I can move all of this. You see two things off into the east. Those two things include a dragon's graveyard, where you can see the bones of a dragon, and known as Needle's Bones, and a second crashed airship off to the other side. The wreck of the Narwhal.
I'll nudge Armin and point those out.
So,
do you see dragon? I have never seen such a thing.
Okay. Right, I'm going to struggle. I'm going to squint and go, yeah, I see it.
and with that, while the party will rest in Kirsabal and get set up and prepped and ready to move on to the next leg of the journey, we are going to take our 15-minute break at this point. So, we're going to pull up on your screen pretty soon this week's Who's That Monster? So type in the chat what monster you think that is, and the winner of today's Who's That Monster does get a special prize. We will announce it at the end of the break. So see you all in 15 minutes. Bye. Welcome back after the break, folks. Jumping back in. The Who's That Monster for this week was, drumroll, the Water Elemental Myrmidon. It's the monster that attacked the party in the water last week. One of the monsters featured in Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. Next week, we will roll over our dice giveaway as part of the Who's That Monster. So at some point today, a monster will be featured, and that monster will then be part of the Who's That Monster next week. And guess it right, you could be within a chance to win a dice set. All right, jumping back into the adventure proper. So, Greco's still running a few minutes late. We'll go on without him for now.
Are we staying the night?
That's up to you. What would you guys like to do? Oh, and before we do continue, I would just like to say thank you very much, Cherry251, for following us on Twitch. We greatly appreciate that. Thank you very much. Continue.
Does Averine, so like Ubtao is the god of this land. Does the heart of Ubtao have any significance that she would know about, or would she be, if she didn't, then she would ask Zola and Shago about it?
Roll either history or religion.
While she's rolling that, Grigori wants to know if he knows anything about Medusas, just as general what they are, or if there needs to be more searching for that.
All right. So, Averine, you would actually know the legend and the story of Ubtao leaving. So Ubtao was the god of Chult. He was the father of everyone on Chult, and regardless of strangely enough, unlike other areas of the Forgotten Realms, almost everyone within Chult feels some pull towards Ubtao. Just the nature of being within Chult just draws people towards that being the father of the gods for this area. When he left Chult behind and withdrew his presence, as part of that, when that happened, a portion of a mountain broke off and began to just float aimlessly around the land of Chult, slowly but surely working its way closer and closer to what is now the Aldani Basin. Almost like a ball spinning around a big bowl. It just slowly got closer and closer to the center, where now it's positioned floating above the peninsula, almost in, and the people assume it to be Ubtao still watching over his people to some degree. And the little rainwater that falls from the heart down is considered to be blessed and sacred. So if anyone were to go and be blessed by this water, they would consider themselves blessed by Ubtao.
If we had the ability to fly and land on it, would I get the impression that that would be taboo? Like
no. That is, it's not considered taboo. It's more a case of if the god, because Ubtao is all-powerful, according to the religions here. If you can make it to the heart of Ubtao, then obviously he must approve of you and be comfortable with you doing so. If you are incapable of reaching the heart, then Ubtao doesn't want you to reach him just yet. So if you can get there, great. People will applaud you in your steadfastness.
So would the presence of a bunch of red wizards there be considered sacrilege?
Depends on what they're doing there. If the heart is filled with red wizards and their behavior in there is not in reference to Ubtao, then yes, that would be considered sacrilege. If the red wizards are all around the heart and have been unable to reach it, then it would be not so much considered sacrilege, because people would consider those people to be not favored of Ubtao and therefore not capable and never going to reach it.
I share all this information.
Okay, fair enough. And Averine, you wanted to know a little bit more about Medusas. Not Averine, sorry, Grigori.
Yes, just to see. And I don't know, is that a history check or something else?
Since the Dance of the Seven Winds requires a flower that is from the lair of a Medusa, all the information you could possibly need could be acquired from Ashara. She will explain a Medusa is a creature, a monstrosity, that should you not choose to avert your gaze from her, she can force you to potentially be turned to stone. If your resolve and your constitution isn't high enough, you could be turned to stone.
Is that true of all creatures or just creatures she cannot see?
Any creature she can see that can see her.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have any mirrors here by chance?
They don't necessarily have any mirrors that they could just take off and give to you.
Okay.
I bet we could polish up at least Greco's shield. I know that Averine's got a shield.
Yep.
Get those two going. They got the supplies here.
Mm-hmm. That's one thing that these people do well, and probably as part of the whole needing the orchid from the Medusa doing well, it's part of their nature to stay shiny and clean. So as a result, it's part of their nature to have a one-up on the Medusa.
See if they have any turtle wax.
They'd probably be able to find something similar. If Greco was here with us right now, he'd be able to point out to you all that his home is far away down by Snapping Turtle Bay and the Snout of Omgar. So to get up to where he got to was a long journey to reach you all. But we rejoin the party with you guys inside Kirsabal. You're welcome to stay, obviously, in Kirsabal as long as you wish. But the moment you set out, the journey would normally take you 4 days. They will cut out 2 of those days by dropping you off halfway. Okay. Anything you guys would like to do?
Well, and we've done the math with the feather. How far can we fly in 3 days? Because usually it's 10 miles a day, right? It's 1 mile to move 10 miles. It's 1 day to move 10 miles.
Only if you're traipsing through the jungle.
Right.
Typically speaking, it's actually a case of 8 hours per day that you can travel without risking exhaustion. So since the flight would give you 4 miles per hour of fly speed, you could travel a total of
32
miles in a day.
8 hours.
And that's
or
an
if you
8
pushed
hour.
exhaustion, you could double it.
You could get extra. You probably wouldn't want to risk doubling completely. But that's 32 miles per 8 hours that you fly towards Uptown. Now, she specifically stated that it doesn't just grant you the blessing when she finishes the ritual. She'll give you a feather. When you trigger the feather, all of you get the fly speed for 3 days. And you can't break off a little bit of the feather to...
We don't all get one feather just for ourselves. It's one for the group.
One for the group.
Gotcha.
Up to 10 creatures. Okay. So, anything you guys would like to do in Kirsabal before moving off?
Are we staying the night or leaving immediately? I asked the group.
You said that we can polish shields, not that we have or we did, so I would like to do that.
Okay. Fair enough.
Is there any... Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I was going to say, just with the equipment that they have, with how well these people are adept at cleaning, that sort of thing, you can have the shields that aren't really made to be mirrors, but you can make them reflective enough that she would have advantage on the save against herself if she saw her reflection. It wouldn't be a complete perfect reflection, but she would still be affected by it.
Will it take shorter than a night day to do that?
They will take care of it for you.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Back to the Medusa. Is there a range on this turning to stone, or is it like if she can see you from any range, you get petrified?
It is line of sight. So, however far she can see, you have to... actually, no, it's 30 foot, sorry.
30 foot.
Correct.
Okay.
When a creature that can see the Medusa's eyes, starts its turn within 30 feet of the Medusa can force it to make a DC 14 con save if the Medusa isn't incapacitated and can see the creature.
I can be constantly.
If people are going to take a little time to shine up and polish stuff, Grigori's going to slink around and just ask for rumors and not break anywhere he's not supposed to, but just chat to people, see if he can rustle up anything interesting about the place or any of his companions. You know, he's always trying to get one up on somebody about knowledge about something or other.
Of the party or of Kirsabal?
Oh, he's asking around, probably about Kirsabal. They're not going to know much about anything except maybe Averine, but he wants to know more, and he's certain that, you know, the warning that if we choose not to tell you it's because we don't trust you means there's got to be something interesting here. So he's going to ask around.
Okay. Will you be using your investigation skills to do that, or your deception, or your persuasion? Like, what skill would you be using?
Deception.
Okay.
Yeah, like I'm. How to deceive without telling outright lies? Just the implication that I'm here, you should tell me, I'm allowed to know, without telling you specifically that that's the case. Just that kind of implication.
Okay.
Put you at ease without telling me these things.
Okay. Okay. They pull you in close to just talk a little secret here for you, little tidbit. So, the city of Omo is still considered, even though it's in ruins, and most people have lost and even forgotten where it is still considered the rightful capital of Chult. The current and last remaining heir of Omu is in Girsabal.
Is in Girsabal?
Yeah. Shh. She's just a little girl. She's about 13 years old.
Yeah.
She is really quite pompous and annoying, but she's
Royalty, right?
strictly, yeah, she's technically speaking heir to Chult.
Wow, where are her parents? She's alone. Did they die?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, right?
Right. How'd she wind up here?
A long story. The last thing we need is for obviously her ancestor, or for her to find out that her ancestor is a Medusa in Nangalore, not far away from here.
Oh,
and
that's
vice versa. That would be terrible.
Yeah. Gotta keep that in the town now. Shh. What was her name again?
Well, my name, I've got a random name generator for a Arakocra.
I mean, your name's great. I was asking about the princess, but I'd like to know both. Sure.
Fine. Don't care about my name.
No, I got your name earlier when we first started chatting. Remember?
Okay. His name is Elland.
Elland.
So.
Yeah, Elland. I introduced you to my first guy.
Yeah. The princess is Princess, and I'm going to pronounce this terribly, Mwaxanare.
Mwaxanare. That sounds like a family name if I've ever heard one.
Yeah. Or Nare for short. There you go.
Wow. Well, we better. Shh. We gotta keep that quiet. I bet the wrong person found out. That would be like a real problem.
That would be like insane, right?
Right.
Gregory, roll me a wisdom save.
Oh boy. Okay, just straight wisdom. Nope.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Shh.
Okay.
Failing the save, I have no idea anything's happening, right?
Honestly speaking, I've been asking you to roll wisdom saves even when they haven't been. Just
Sure.
To
and you don't have to tell me
off.
if that is or not. If something was happening, I got no idea, right?
Yeah, you have no idea that you are currently being scryed upon.
Sure.
Yeah. If you're being scryed upon at this point in time, if that information is now in the hands of Saztam's servants, who knows?
Who knows? So exciting.
Yeah.
Is there anything else to do in Girsabal? Like, I know it's a monastery. Are there vendors or...
Unfortunately, not really. The nature of this location is that it is mostly just self-sufficient monks, effectively supporting themselves. The nearest place for you to do that, I believe, let me double check, is going to be... That's the e-show. I need to double check. Yeah. No, because that's completely sunk. Never mind. Not to Isha. Then the nearest place for trade would be back at like Camp Vengeance, Camp Righteous, or the far side of the island, back at Port 9 Zaro, etc.
Does Averine know what would cure the Medusa's curse? No, well, both or either. What caused the queen to become a Medusa, and two, what would cure someone to turn to stone?
So curing someone that has been turned to stone is fairly easy knowledge to have. Greater restoration spell, something similar, can restore someone from being petrified. Petrified is a condition that is placed upon a person, and she knows that that condition can be cured by magics that restore that. The other thing, the whole aspect of Zalcor, there's not really any way to go back from being a Medusa. The whole shift to become a Medusa is typically done as a result of desiring eternal youth and making a deal with someone for it. So she made a deal with someone to get eternal youth, and it resulted in her becoming a Medusa.
Okay. So
short of killing the god, there's not really any way of breaking that.
So Averine knows greater restoration will cure petrification. She knows Ashara is the high priest of the Arakakras. Does she know if Ashara would be capable of casting greater restoration if someone in the party turned to stone?
That is a good point. Double check if she is capable of doing that. Named NPCs. Unfortunately, her powers of restoration are limited to lesser restoration.
So would, I guess, Port Nyanzaru be the closest place that Averine is aware of that might have someone capable of casting that spell?
Port Nyanzaru is the closest place where you can guarantee someone would be, and you would be able to get a cure. There are other locations where it's a maybe. Other settlement locations, wherever you find people, there is a chance, but a definite would be Port Nyanzaru. So, anything else you guys are doing before you set off towards Nangalore? Nope. Excuse me. All right. Then, as you...
Are we staying the night, or are we just heading straight out?
I think you're staying the night because you need to clean up some shields and get things ready.
So while everyone's away, Grigori's going to make the point, do we even need to be doing this? Like, if we get the ring or the feather, that's helpful, but we're going to spend so much time going there and back. If we just hike straight without it, it's all sixes in terms of any advantage we get on travel time.
But we will have the ability to fly to the heart of this island.
Well, we could walk there too, and the amount of time it'll take to do this.
No, Red One. I mean the literal heart that is in the sky. We could fly to it. We cannot get.
Can't argue with that. That's true enough.
We may not need to. We could walk to the location and use it. Use the feather while we are there.
Artus will propose the concept that if what you say is true, now this is an if, this is not meta knowledge, but this is just if what you say is true, that the area around the Heart of Ubto probably has a lot of red wizards, then walking through them is going to be far harder than flying over them.
Well, let's pick your poison then. We either face a Medusa and possibly get turned to stone, or fight through some wizards.
That's understating it. Through some wizards.
Well, whether it's 1 or 100, we don't know what they're... If it were all liches, that would be one thing. If it's all pretenders who are just vying for some scrap of magic and have no real power, that's something else entirely. I don't suppose when you looked at that map, you had any idea what kind of power levels we were talking about.
No, but being a businesswoman like I am, I can say that for large operations like this, you're going to at least have a couple of commanders.
And the travel by foot through the jungle is treacherous at best. The opportunity to travel by air, even if it saves us just a few days' worth of danger by foot, I believe is worth the extra time we would need in order to track down this Medusa, who we may even be able to talk through the situation. I may not even need to come to
Medusa is much more dangerous than what we might chance upon in the jungle. Shago, what do you think in regards to that? Are we likely to find something as dangerous as a Medusa in the jungle?
It depends on what you consider to be dangerous. Me, a woman that I can choose not to look at? Huh? I don't look at women all the time. A dinosaur that can literally pop into existence without me getting any warning. That is dangerous. A wizard who can think and I'm gone. That is dangerous. Monsters, I know. People, I do not know.
The Medusa sounds like she needs solace, Grigore. If we can provide that, then we might be able to avoid it. And if there is bloodshed necessary, well, we've faced off against giants and came out with little pains for it. And we were fighting well at a disadvantage. I think that this is the most prudent route. And though your risk-averse nature may put you otherwise, I think that this is probably the path of least resistance, if you will.
Greco, you have a very kind heart.
It's one of my flaws, I'm afraid.
We do not need to look at her directly. Her power is in her gaze, and she needs to also see you from this description. So then you have the ability to turn yourself invisible, do you not, Red One?
Oh, I think I, at some risk and exhausting myself, could potentially deal with this single-handedly without any of you being put in danger, but that wouldn't be in my interest.
So your proposition is you would prefer to trek almost blindly, but for the cunning guidance of our friend Shago here.
No. You've made your point. You've made your point quite well. Going to the Medusa makes sense. I could, at great exertion, influence the Medusa to think I was her friend. I could turn myself invisible. I could parlay with her and get what we wanted, or at the very least, I could present a mirror to her in my invisible state. I've been focusing at shooting my spells at longer distances, so I should be able to do so quite safely. However, I would be expending most of my resources, and if I got into trouble, there'd be little recourse for me. It's quite a bit of risk.
I have also considered this, and I may have a way to produce the mirror you wish. There are many of us that have our own tricks, Red One.
Oh, certainly. You are one of many tricks. Blue.
Can we?
I do not find this Medusa to be something that we could not handle. Anyone else.
Smash cut. Everybody's stoned.
Now let's rewind back 3 weeks to find out why that happened.
Can we make sure to carry along a bag, some sort of canvas to just put over her head, if everything goes to shite, we could just cover her head, and then no one will be at risk.
Pillowcase.
Yeah, I like a pillowcase.
If only one of us had the ability to just turn an area dark, where no
Hello.
light could enter, and none could leave.
I have the ability to create fog, so
I just can't.
it obscure us if it comes to blows. If this is what you wish.
And I have the capability of causing blindness in my foes, but these kinds of effects, they rely on.
If she cannot see you, she cannot petrify you.
But
If
we're
she is
relying-
blind, if she is blind, her power should be negated.
Should be, but shoulds are no good, if you will.
Some creatures are immune to certain conditions as well.
But we have the power of your speech, so perhaps we can. It will not come to blows. You, the one who spoke with a lich and survived. Surely this Medusa poses no threat.
As I say, I could certainly
Try.
do that at great personal cost.
Well,
At great
Grigori,
personal risk. At least at great personal risk.
Grigori, if you're very frightened for your well-being and for tiring yourself too much, Carmen has proven herself to be a very adept communicator and friend to all. And so if you truly are just so terrified of how you might handle this Medusa, this one single Medusa, then please don't
Greco,
let us put you in
I
that
see what you're
situation.
doing, and it's a little bit mean.
Oh, not mean at all. I would expect nothing else, of course. Although, Greco, I appreciate that, but I won't fall for the bait. I'm glad to put myself out there, but not simply for the feel-goods, as it were. And we can go along and go in as a group and see where that goes, and I have no problem with that. I just say if everyone wants good old Grigori with his silver tongue to go in and try to take care of it himself and carry all the risk as well.
Go in
No.
by yourself, Gregory. We would not expect you to risk your skin any further, but perhaps your silver tongue can be used while we are, as a group, talking to this woman, or Carmen herself.
Just to put it on the record, I'd be totally fine letting Grigori handle this one himself.
See, Greco, Averine has total confidence in me. You shouldn't be so worried, Greco. If even Averine is so confident, Averine, this means so much to me that you have such trust and confidence in me. I think we've had a real moment here. That's wonderful.
It is not our lack of confidence, Red One, but it is the deal you will wish to make to gain that confidence.
Shargo would step up and offer himself. If someone must talk alone, I can do so.
No, you guys are overthinking
That's a
this.
terrible idea.
I think we can easily subdue a creature of that mark. From what we have been told, I think it would be fairly easy if we work together. We make sure that we do not have to rely solely on our own capabilities.
Thank you,
We should be
Shago.
fine.
Voice of reason over here.
For example, I have been thinking, if one of you holds a mirror in the right direction, I can look at her whilst looking at you. Instead of looking at her eyes,
And then what would you do?
I can attack her without looking directly at her.
So you use the reflection as, like, your
As
barrier.
guidance.
Yeah.
So you'd moonwalk up to her, you'd walk backwards, and you'd be standing with your back to her, and you'd be looking at me, and you'd be jabbing your spear back like this. Is that what you had in mind?
I do not know what you mean by moonwalk, but I can lift shield up over eyes
It means walking in the
and
moonlight.
poke like that.
We'll call that Plan B.
Okay.
Plan B. That one is on reserve.
Shall we go then? Do we need to rest this night, or we can polish our belongings en route?
The Aarakocra will do a special polishing for you if you stay the night. So can guarantee that you have reflective surfaces to a degree for the morning. Okay.
Special polishing.
Yep. All right. Then as you guys wake up bright and early in the morning, make sure every spell that you guys had used is completely refreshed. So I think like Detect Magic was used, things like that. Refresh everything. Averine gets some new portents. Everyone is ready to go for this new day. A few of the older Aarakocra have offered to transport you down to the main surface to make sure you don't fall and you don't have any problems. But they'll drop you off and then fly off straight away. They'll get you halfway. A couple hours after you guys begin following the path towards Nangalore, you do come across a lone figure roaming through the jungle. He just crosses your path. An old man wearing fairly colorful robes steps out from behind a tree, looks a little bit startled at you. Oh there. Good day.
Hell, what? Where do you?
Good day
come
to you,
from?
sir.
Colorful one.
I am Gambor. Who are you?
I'm Grigori. This is Lockley, and no one else is important.
Roll a persuasion check or deception. I don't believe you. I think every single one of you is important. I'd love to get to know every single one of you a little bit better. I need everyone to roll perception checks, please.
Can I roll an insight check?
Yes, you can.
What, instead of perception for you?
I can roll both if you want me to.
Choose one or the other. You either focus on him or you focus on your surroundings.
I'm gonna focus on him.
I
doing
focus
the
on
same.
surroundings.
And then everybody else focuses on
Perception.
insight.
No, sorry, insight.
I've done too much deception. He's pulling the look over here thing.
Okay.
Pull it.
Unfortunately,
Can I use luck?
yes.
No, no worry. It's alright. No worry. No.
No.
Alright.
Are you sure? You can.
Yeah, I'm sure I might need it for later.
Okay. All right. Grigori, that 20 on the perception, that's your perception roll? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, that's mine. Yeah. And Zola got a 23.
Zola and Grigori, you both notice, your eyes are trained to look out for the dangers. In your periphery, there is movement behind the trees. This guy is not alone, and his companions are surrounding you.
I cast Charm Person on this guy.
And he counterspells. We're going to go with a initiative
Boo.
as you guys are about to be surrounded by a Red Wizard of Thay and his thralls.
Oh, I'm back in the jungle again.
I should have asked. I wanted to ask what color his colorful robes were, and I didn't.
Lots of colors. But go ahead and roll initiative, but also move yourself to anywhere within 30 feet of your current location on the map.
What level is he counterspelling that at?
You wouldn't know that.
Well, no, but so my Charm Person's a level 1 spell. I don't know if he does it automatic or if he has to roll for it.
Oh, I rolled one.
Counterspell is a base 3rd level spell.
Oh, that's right. That's right, of course. Sorry.
Oh,
That's
So
not
he
that.
would have to be within 60 feet of you for
You roll me wrong.
that to happen.
Charm
I think
Person?
I'm gonna.
Yeah, so
Oh, great.
No,
I
I
know,
have
for
I have
counterspell.
counterspell. Okay.
Oh, but he looks like such a sweet old man.
yeah.
Because I have spell sniper, all my ranges are really crazy long.
Let me roll
So-
initiative for Shargo. Let's get some battle music running.
Oh, get position yourself.
Now it's stuck in my head. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I can just keep on going if you want. I can provide a cappella like battle music.
Not
for
necessary. It's already going. Like I said.
Oh, there's music.
There we go.
I guess I would have had to be
Are you doing
kind
behind
of.
the tree?
I didn't say I cast mage armor. Dang it.
Back here.
Can we? So on the map we can see what all these things are, but can we, as our characters, tell like there's skeleton-y looking
Yes.
dudes? And okay.
Yes. As soon as combat triggers, as soon as the charm person gets thrown out and a counter spell quickly, you guys are aware these guys are running in. You have a wizard in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
There are 5 Chultan human guard and 6 skeletons with them.
Skeletons. Ah, if I was one level higher of cleric, I could just pop them. Damn. So close.
So just going to roll initiative for all of my guys. Don't throw out your spells already.
Tower's getting excited.
Sorry.
Premature ice.
You're
Knife.
using good rolls up there.
I'm using good rolls. Can I use that roll?
No,
What I'm doing.
because it's not yours.
All right. Bear with me. Lots of handouts on the screen. Okay.
Are they all armed with weapons besides the wizard?
Yes.
Okay.
Everyone except the wizard is a melee combatant.
Cool.
Hence why they were sneaking in.
Sneaky, sneaky.
I don't know if we can get this.
There are quite a lot of targets on the field.
There are.
Oh, sorry.
Averine. Shall we see who's the better caster?
So, top of the round, Grigori. You get to go first. So you
Woo!
have... Make sure you expend the spell slot for Charm Person.
Sure do.
Okay.
Although here's my question: that charm person is part of my Tiefling variant. Is that used against my spell slots? Because it says doesn't. Well, we'll review that later. It should be fine. We'll talk about that later because that's a weird spell. I'm gonna fireball the guys to the left. I'm gonna focus it just in the middle of that guy, so I get all of them on a fireball. Level 3.
Nice.
Your ability to cast Charm Person is once per long rest.
It is. I've got it marked off. Yep.
So that is expended. Doesn't use any spell slots. All right.
All right.
So, dexterity saving throw. That went to all of the guys on the left, right?
That's right. So all the guys, the 3 humans and the 3 skeletons.
Okay. So the skeletons, dex saves, we have 1, 2, 3, and then the guard. Okay, what's your DC on that? It's
16.
16. Okay. So 2 of the skeletons fail, but all of the guards succeed. 30 points of fire damage.
Seems like, yeah. All right. Greco's just gonna like turn next to him and look at Grigori and just gonna like, yeah, all right.
I look at the
Great.
wizard. I look at the wizard. I do one of these. But then I make a tactical retreat. Run away.
Okay.
Run back to tower.
All right. Anything else from you?
That's all for me.
Okay. Then this skeleton is going to charge forward, and he is going to rush in towards Greco.
Hey.
Able to get up to that point, the skeleton pulls out a short sword and will slash at the turtle.
All right.
That's going to be an 18 to hit.
That's gonna be a miss.
18 is going to miss you?
Yes.
Okay. All right, then we move to Carmen. Carmen, what are you doing?
And Carmen is going to, and I'm just thinking of Casey's accent from last week. She's going to cast Shatter.
Shatter. Okay.
On the group on the right hand side.
On the group on the right. Okay.
Tower.
Con saves from the guards. That's a success and a success. The skeletons. Success. Success.
Oh,
Success. Hey. So half damage for all of them, which ends up being 8 points of damage to everyone. Okay.
okay.
Anything else?
I'm going to give inspiration to Zola. But not Zola, Lockley. If I have to jump it.
Okay. Then we move to Averine.
I will cast Bless at 3rd level, giving me 5 targets. And so I will give that to Greco, Shago, Zola, Artis, and Tower.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
And I will take a step back. That's it.
Okay. Oh, the mage's turn. Not too keen on what you just did there. So he is going to return the favor, though he's going to make it a little bit worse. Move to 20 foot. We'll move him actually to here as he casts a slightly bigger spell. Let me clarify what's the radius on this. A 60-foot cone.
Oof.
So let's pull out our cone and quickly grab 60 foot. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50,
Everyone.
55, 60. All right.
He's gonna get a skeleton too, though. Eat it, skeleton.
Yeah. Eat it, skeleton.
That's okay.
Oh, not Carmen, though.
Strange. Let's see if he can angle it in such a way to
No,
get
No. You don't have to do that. That was. I didn't say anything. That
Come
was
on, man. We can talk about this. We can talk about this.
There we go. Everyone. So,
Sorry.
everyone gets to roll a Constitution saving throw, please.
Oh, good. I'm okay with
Ah,
those.
see yours first.
And the skeleton's going to die whether it succeeds or fails.
Oh.
No, I didn't do it.
And remember, most of you have Bless. So 1d4.
So I think I'm going to use mine now just in case.
I'm going to use a luck and reroll my con save.
No.
Right.
Are you clicking on the right side? Yeah, yeah.
Oh, what?
We do mine.
Bless him there.
I might
Oh
want
no, tower.
an inspiration on
That's
this.
all right. It's fine.
Yeah, you want to use your inspiration card? I'm not going to tell anyone what the success or failure is.
I
until-
know. I'm very familiar with this spell personally, and I'm afraid that it could.
You've lost me.
What happened there?
You've lost it.
So let me just go through and clarify what we have here. Grigori, you rolled a 17.
Right.
That it?
Yes. Although Favorite of the Gods allows me to check in extra after I fail the roll.
Yep.
So I could do something if I fail, but that's all I'm going to do for now. 17.
Greco,
Oh,
16.
no, those are luck.
But I used my bless, and you'll see I rolled a d4, so that's a 20.
Just come with it.
Okay. Yep. So 20.
Yeah.
Zola.
Yeah, I'm gonna re-roll.
Okay, so you're cashing in your inspiration card?
Yeah.
Okay. Drag it and drop it to the table.
Oh, why is she not?
Okay, and I'll get rid of that. All right. So go ahead and re-roll your Constitution save.
Worse.
And D4 for bless.
Still gonna be worse.
Okay. All right.
D4 in there, but it's not-
So, Averine
I haven't got this.
currently got, by the look of it,
17.
17. You're using the... I see 2 under Averine. I see a 3 and then a 17.
Yeah, I used
Oh, I
luck.
see just the 17.
Ah,
before.
luck. Okay, fair enough.
Oh,
Tower. I see
Yeah.
a 14 and then a 5.
That's the 5.
It's the 5. What was the 14?
Where's 14?
Where'd you get the 14 from?
Above it, I see Tower rolled a 14 on a con save.
Oh, did it go through? It didn't look like it went
oh
through.
yeah. Use the
I
14.
didn't see it. Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, I'll take the 14 then. One. That is the correct. That was my first roll. It didn't appear on my scroll. So
You're also blessed, Blue Ben.
Would
Yeah,
you
I'll
like to
roll.
roll a d4?
I will roll a d4. Yes.
Okay. So, and
Wait.
then I've got Shadow.
I
Artist,
could
yeah?
use my Blessing of Ubtal as well, because it's whatever roll I can re-roll. Doesn't mean that there's a limit on that.
Yep.
You can't.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm pretty sure
So
it's
many
this or die.
rolls and re-rolls.
And
We're all very
I'm-
afraid of what this
I'm
guy can
destined
do.
to
Like, I
die.
have to know what all your rolls are before I tell you what happens. We're all afraid we're gonna die.
That's a 15 from me, Darren.
Okay, fair enough. And Carmen. I see a 5 and a 9.
Do I not have advantage because the cone only touched my ankle, technically? You couldn't actually fit me in properly?
I think that's.
Pretty sure that's not how
reason.
advantage.
I can grant you advantage if you take the 5 and the 4. I can't grant you advantage if you take the 9 and the 19.
Oh, that's convenient.
All right, so which one is yours and why would you have a second? Just
Because I
to clarify.
used luck.
Ah, you use luck. Okay. So then you rolled a d4. Okay, so 10. All right.
I didn't roll a d4 because that was ties.
Sorry, that's mine. Yeah. that's
Okay.
my thing.
Roll another d4 because she's also
She's
blessed,
not
right?
blessed.
No,
Carmen
she's
is,
not blessed.
Carmen is not blessed.
Okay, never mind. All right, so Grigori, you succeeded.
Woo!
Okay, so no using the favor of the gods. In fact, anyone who got a 14
Oh, that was it.
or higher succeeded. Okay. Which I do believe that means that Carmen and Zola are the only ones that failed. Because
Zola hit a 14. Exactly.
She did hit a 14 and then she re-rolled to get a 4. If I remember rightly, did I say you could choose between? I think I did.
yes, you did.
Okay, then are you going to take the 10 and succeed?
Yeah, I'm going to succeed. I'd rather not die today.
Okay, all right.
Can I not
So-
use another luck? If I can only got one luck I can use.
You can keep using luck points, but not after you know the results. Not after you know the success.
Oh, you said I couldn't.
I don't think you could continuously re-roll up.
You can continuously keep re-rolling. Whenever you make any sort of check, you can just use a luck point, re-roll another d20. And so you could rack up additional d20s. But you're using a lot of resource on one check, and you don't get to know whether or not any of them succeeded before you use them all.
No, that's my bad advice.
That seems bad. So if I die now, I get to throw him in the pool.
Yep, it's his fault.
Yeah.
All right, so looking at that, if I understand it correctly, the only person to fail is Carmen.
Yeah.
All right. As a result, those that failed take 38 points of cold damage.
No. She hasn't
Those
done it.
that succeeded take half at, that's what, 19 points of cold damage.
Can I cast Absorb Elements, please?
Yes, you can.
Question, since
Answer.
I'm new with the roguiness, Uncanny Dodge. An attacker you can see hits you with an attack. This is not considered an
This
attack,
is
right?
not an
This is a
attack.
spell. All right.
Yep.
You gotta get evasion for the spells.
Oh, Carmen, you're still up though. You're not down.
She's up.
I'm just up.
Oh, okay.
Let's move to Elements. So
Artus
that's,
is
that,
19. It's
That's
immune
nine.
to
19.
cold.
no, I halved it again. So.
Artus takes no damage because he's immune to cold damage. All right, how's everyone doing after that one spell?
Not well.
Okay, so no one dropped. Good. All right, Zola, what would you like to do?
I am going to tear this guy to pieces.
Put him in a body bag!
Go on,
Johnny.
Sweep the leg.
Sweep the leg. Yep. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, 23 to hit will hit.
I'm just gonna keep cutting away at this guy.
You do the sneak attack because you're a swashbuckler, right?
Aye.
Yep. So.
I mean, yar.
25
Yar.
points of damage. Second attack, 25, is going to hit for an additional 4. Anything else from you?
I should have grappled him. Too late now. Go away.
Okay. Artus looks around, making sure everyone's okay. No one seems like they're going to die. Will charge forward towards the mace and stab with bookmark. That is a 23 to hit. That's going to hit, dealing 9 points of damage. Then going to stab again. The 12 will also hit for another 7. That will kill the mage. He will then stab again. That will also hit and keep stabbing the dead body.
So it's just dead.
Yeah,
At
he
this
is
point.
dead at this point. He made sure he's dead. All right, but we have a skeleton that's going to shamble over towards Zola. Striking out at Zola, that is a 20 to hit.
That'll hit.
That is 6 points of piercing damage.
Mark down to 3.
Yep, uncanny dodge.
Yeah.
That's you
Why not?
using your reaction. Right?
Yes, I understand. I don't have anything else that uses reactions right now.
Fair enough. Greco, what are you going to do?
Okay. I am going to see. That's 30. All right. I'm going to move to right here, and that should put all those skeletons within 30 feet of me. And I'm going to use my turn undead.
Okay.
To
So they need to
cast
roll
them off.
wisdom saves.
Yes. And DC is 14.
I have a 16 and a 15, so they both succeed.
They both make it. Okay.
Okay.
And that's all I can really do. So.
Right. Then a guard will charge on you, Greco. This guy is wielding a spear, and that's it. He will strike out at you two-handed, 2 attacks. The first is an 18 to hit you.
That misses.
Misses. All right. Then he will stab at you a second time. That is a 19 to hit.
Also misses.
19 misses.
Yeah, I have a AC 20.
Okay. Then we need to clarify your character sheet because it looks like you've only got an AC of 19.
Oh,
So-
no, it says on. Oh, are you looking at D&D Beyond?
No, I'm looking at your token. For some reason, the token wasn't updating. There we go. It's
Okay.
fixed. 20.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Okay, yeah.
Right. So that misses. We then have another guard who will charge forward to also stab at you.
Yeah.
Spear two-handed. That's a 22 to hit.
That hits.
That hits for 5 points of piercing damage as he tries to skewer the turtle. That's going to be a crit. Second attack. That's going to be, unless someone can do anything against it, it'll be 9 points of piercing damage.
I'm down.
Okay. Shargol runs over to your aid and will strike out at this guy. 3 quick jabs with the spear. 20, 23, and 14 and 19 all hitting, killing the guy that stood over you. You will then step around to also go after the guard. Tower. You haven't had to do much in this combat so far. It's been fairly quick, but deadly. What are you going to do?
Remind me on magic. Can I can cast a bonus action cantrip, and I can cast a main
Yes.
spell.
Yes, you just hard and fast, simple rule. You cannot cast more than one spell of first level or higher on your turn.
Right. I will move into here. I will cast Healing Word onto Greco.
Thank you.
Okay.
At first level.
So Greco gets 8 hit points.
Great.
And then I will produce flame as a cantrip onto the one standing over him.
Okay, so you produce it and throw it as part of the same action with the 12 to hit. No, actually, he's flanked, so that will be a 21. That is going to hit. So 12 points of fire damage. This small ball seems to collect additional heat as it flies towards him. Hits this guy square in the chest. He goes down. Anything else from your tower?
I'm good.
Okay. We have a skeleton that will run up and stab at Shargo. That is a 16 to hit, which doesn't hit Shargo. So then we are back top of the round, Grigori. There's only 2 skeletons left.
It's true. Grigori's gonna Eldritch Blast the one next to Zola.
Okay. The blast of energy hits the skeleton, breaks off parts of its flesh. Not quite dead, though.
Is there anything I can throw on that to increase the damage? I do not.
You are 5th level, correct?
Yes.
You get to make
Oh, no, I'm going to
2
use my meta magic. Sorcerer points.
Before you do that,
Okay.
you are a 5th level character. Whenever you cast Eldritch Blast, you launch 2 beams.
Ah.
Was
Can I
he
take my
also
second? Oh, I just roll it again.
Yes.
Grigori
Well,
was
there's
also
another thing.
blessed.
There's another thing I gotta go fix on my character sheet, I guess.
No, it's only 10.
1.
The
I'm going to
bolt
use a
of
sorcerer
energy-
point.
Yeah?
I'm going to use
Yeah.
a sorcerer point to empower this spell and re-roll a number of damage dice up to my. So I'm going to re-roll one of those.
One of those details.
There we go.
There we go. All right. The force energy will crack the bones. Zola, being so close to it, will hear every bone in this guy's body just snap
Ugh.
instantly
Ugh.
as the
Gross.
skeleton dies.
And I will move. Actually, I don't need to move forward. I will. Actually, no. I'm going to get up on Greco. See if I can. I mean, I don't have much healing magic, but want to help him out. And I'm done.
Then Carmen. There's only 1 skeleton left.
There is. How's he looking?
Pretty weak, actually. He got hit by a pretty powerful shatter spell earlier and hasn't been touched since.
Now orange. Okay, so yeah, I can get up to him. Probably shouldn't put myself that close, but I'm going to. Shall I go there? Okay. All right. Fine. I'm going to move to there, and I'm going to use my rapier on him.
That's going to hit as you bring down with the piercing damage. Skeletons typically, it's easier to kill them with other things, but you deal far more damage than is necessary. Skeleton falls to pieces in front of you.
Yes.
All
Thanks.
skeletons fall. Everyone is dead. And the mage is dead.
Good.
You're muted, but I'm assuming you're still just going to keep stabbing him, right? Yeah, fair enough. With the
Slowly.
curse going on right now, you guys are at least benefiting the fact that this guy is not coming back.
Careful, careful. He might have a spell book on him. I want to look and see if he's got a spell book.
I had hoped to interrogate him, but okay.
Well, that would be hard to do.
It was not cool.
Oh.
I would also like to go through the body. Let's see. What was he hit with? He was just stabbed repeatedly, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So he's got
whole
a
lot
bunch
of
of
stabs.
holes. He's got a whole bunch of holes in his red robes. Well, it's a variety of colored robes. They're not just red.
Yep. The Technicolor.
You guys made a mess. I can't find hide nor hair in this all this gore.
Can Tower look to see if these guys were waiting for them, or if they just we came across them by accident, or if this was an actual perpetrated ambush?
Roll a survival check. Averine, those are the spells that he has on him right now. Okay, those are the ones that you find. The rest of the pages, the ones that he was hoping to be able to memorize on another day, were unfortunately damaged by all the bleeding and the stabbing and that. So with your survival check, you're not really able to detect whether or not they were waiting for you, but what you can figure out is these guys were headed south. They crossed your path, but they were also headed south as well.
Does he have any kind of markings or imagery on his robes that would give away at least whether or not he was associated with the Red Wizards of where at Mesro that Gregory had been?
The Mesro Wizards, the Mesro faction.
Yeah.
So roll an investigation check.
Sure.
To look over his person to see what he has.
Oh, this ain't gonna be good. Oh, I rolled well that time. Okay.
This guy did have a certain type of symbology on his robes, on his person that he was able to find. There's nothing more telling about a Red Wizard than who he serves.
Mm-hmm.
The Red Wizards that you guys have met serve Zaz Tam, the current emperor of the Thayan Empire, right? This guy's robes, the inseam, the markings on his body seem to indicate that he serves and follows a Serarak.
Would I have heard of a Serarak?
Everyone who has ever heard a bedtime story, so probably everyone except Tower, will have heard of the dreaded Leech King, a Serarak.
So, would I have heard of anything about him? Like, bedtime stories are usually exaggerated and they tend to be, fanciful. Would I have heard in my studies and preachings with Kellenfor anything about a Serarak as something that's a little more concrete?
That can either be a history or a religion. Otherwise, you would know if you don't eat all your vegetables, he might come and steal your soul at night.
Looks
In
like
fact,
that's about all
with
that I
an
know
8,
about him.
that's about all that you know of him.
Okay.
If you disobey your parents, then a Serarak knows. That's
So he's like evil Santa Claus.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
And Gregory knows exactly the same thing.
He's Krampus.
Are you guys done with the body?
Aye.
All right, I would like to remove its head and then punt it as far as I can.
I mean, we can light it on fire if you prefer, but
No.
yeah, cut its head off. Yeah.
I suggest we move on. This much blood may attract other predators.
When you punt the head, Artus summons a icy arcane hand to just pick it up and help you punt it far, far away. Okay.
Thank you.
So, let's go.
Tower and or Greco. I'm feeling very frostbitten from that encounter with the mage. Are you able to help me and the rest of our party out?
I can see, but I unfortunately have not prepared.
Shall we rest briefly before we continue on?
Well, if Greco can cure us all.
How far out are we from the
Yeah.
from the thingy? Was this the first day?
This was a couple hours after you landed,
Okay.
so you've still got 2 days worth of travel before you get to Nangalore.
Okay.
Is it evening or is it afternoon?
This is pretty early in the morning. This is midday. You would have set
Okay.
out at first light. This is a couple hours later.
Okay.
I have not prepared my ability to communicate with such a healing spirit, but I have my minor healing magics, and I can cast Cure Wounds at 2nd level.
Oh, save your healing magics that affect only individuals. If Greco has a healing spell that in one shot can heal us all, then that would be preferable.
Unfortunately, as a level 4 cleric, he does have Prayer of Healing. Let's see if it's prepared. Nope, Prayer of Healing is not prepared for the day.
Let us all just take a short rest, catch our breath, and then continue onward.
Yep. You will...
Quietly, Tower will shift over to Carmen and cast Cure Wounds 2nd level order.
Artus lifts the pommel of his blade. It starts pointing, tracking the location. Okay, we need to continue heading southwest to get to Nangalore. That's your Cure Wounds gift. All right. So, you guys take a little bit of a breather. You take a short rest before heading on. You will continue to trudge through the jungle over the course of the next day or so. That night, there won't be another encounter this day. That night, while you guys are resting, you cast the hut, you summon the hut. Tower, you are beset by nightmares again.
He's not in the hut.
Are you outside the hut?
He's outside the hut because we've seen what happens if he goes mad in the hut. So
No, you didn't tell him.
I didn't tell him, but
So how did that conversation go down? Hey everyone, let's bed down for the night. Tower, you're not invited.
we need you on the watch.
He would do the watch, but he would then want to be.
I'm pretty sure we would have told you on the way that you would destroy the hut if you were in the hut. And
Okay. He knows when he's had a bad dream.
He knows when he's had bad dreams, but wouldn't have any knowledge of wild shaping.
He wouldn't have any knowledge of wild shaping if they didn't tell him, and he wouldn't suspect to have another one so soon. So,
okay.
I would, unless you guys are actually opposing him from being in the hut, he would be in the hut.
Okay. So during your dreams, Tower, I need you to roll a wisdom saving throw as you are beset by the same nightmares.
Just using this as a way of keeping
I am going to be keeping an eye on you, but
15.
Okay, 15. This time, the dream is a little bit different. You actually the problem that you've been seeing previously with all of these nightmares that have been besetting you, and they've been getting worse and worse steadily over a while. It's always been the same thing. You just don't have the power to save those people you care about. This time, you began to see the faces of your new companions that you're starting to really care about, some more than others. And it spurs you on to really try to save them. And you find yourself finally with the power to do so. You start charging into the battle, tearing through all of these enemy creatures, saving the life of Carmen, ripping apart someone that's currently got Zola by the throat. You even just stamp on and destroy someone that's currently holding Grigori up by his ankles. You just tear through. You feel elated. It's fantastic. You raise your hands up to the sky, and in your dream, you're wearing the ring. And the ring is giving you the power you need to save those that you love. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session. Right. Join us next week as we continue this adventure, as we explore Nangalore, explore Tower's dreams a little bit more and the situation. Thank you very much for joining us this week. Once again, reminder that we have, I think, 2 days left on our giveaway. So if you haven't already entered it, go follow the links. Jump into the giveaway, retweet the tweets, follow, do all of the good stuff that gets you an entry. And next week's session, we will announce live who wins and who gets it. The link is now in the chat. We are at Crituitous RP on Twitter. I'm at Teo the DM. Just wanted to announce as well, tomorrow night, starting 4 p.m. EST, we are starting a second campaign, a slightly different one. This one is a homebrew adventure of mine, and it is a theatre of the mind with some regular characters and a few new players that will be joining the Crituitous RP family. So join us tomorrow if you'd like to experience something else. Tell your friends all about us. Share us everywhere. During the week, our players get together and engage in some really fantastic role-play chat. This week, I even got involved in it and role-played as Shargo, though limited. And it's a great thing to read and learn about how the characters are developing amongst themselves. To be a part of that, you can either follow along a week behind, I think it is, on our Tumblr. That is tumblr.com/ the link will be in the chat in just a moment. There we go, crituitousrp.tumblr.com. But if you would like to be read along with the chat as it happens, as well as gain the benefits of other great opportunities, you can support us over on our Patreon. That is patreon.com/Teovanth. And get involved with us during the week. All right. See you all. Bye.